funny? 2 years ago, I would have avoided this movie like the plague. I really would have. Hell, most Netflix movies I would have avoided like the plague. Or even a lot of movies that hit theaters. Especially this month. If I weren't doing this, the only movie I would have seen this month is Shang-Chi. I'm dead serious. But now that I'm doing this, I'm watching all these weird movies that I never would have watched in my high school years. Or maybe I would have at some point, because I've been planning to do this for years, but not the point. So, My Little Pony, A New Generation. Okay. Now, I don't watch this show, obviously. I know there are plenty of adult males who watch these shows. What are they called? Bronies? Whatever? No. I do not associate myself with those people. I don't watch these kind of shows. I don't. I don't watch this. I don't watch Jim and the Holograms. I don't watch any show that's aimed at little girls. I don't watch them. Now, I'll watch plenty of animated shows that are either gender neutral or aimed at boys. And most of the animated shows I watch can appeal to adults as well, even as a kid. So, hell, I'll go back and watch a lot of those old Disney Channel shows that adults would not like, but I will never watch one of the ones that are purely aimed at girls because I'm not the target audience. Which shocks me even more when I come to this movie, and it's not terrible. It's not fantastic. It's not. It's better than the 2017 piece of crap. That movie was literal horse crap. I watched that in preparation for this, so I had some idea what I was watching, and it was completely different. I didn't think the new generation would actually mean much, but apparently it does, because none of the old characters, from what I can tell, are in this at all, or even mentioned. Unless they were the ones from the very first scene, in which case, never mind. But that's not my point. I don't watch these shows. I'm not the target audience for these. I watched this movie for the channel. I watched this for a review. That's it. Same thing I did with Amazon's Cinderella. I watched it for a review. But much like the Cinderella movie, it's not god-awful. It's not great, though. It has problems. I'm sounding very monotone, I know, but I don't have much enthusiasm for this one, to review this one, because I wasn't, I wasn't even anticipating watching this at first. But I'm like, hey, Troll Hunters Rise of the Titans ended up being great, and Paw Patrol ended up being great. How about this one? It's not as good as Paw Patrol or Rise of the Titans, surely. Those were surprisingly great, especially Troll Hunters. That one was fantastic, and again, would have been a perfect score if not for the ending. And Paw Patrol was surprisingly really good and had a surprising amount of depth to it. This one doesn't have much depth, but I feel like that's kind of the point. It's not supposed to, the target audience will probably love the hell out of this movie. I guarantee it. And hell, apparently adults are getting into this too, because I looked at Rotten Tomatoes, 100% out of 7 reviews, but 100%. And I looked at the reviews. Half of them are kind of mixed, 3 out of 5, 6 out of 10, stuff like that. But then there are some that had 4.5 out of 5 or 4 out of 5. That's insane. So it led me to think, okay, maybe there's way more to this than I thought. Because when the trailer came out, I'm like, okay, this is an easy breezy hour and a half. I can sit through it, get a review, easy peasy. So I wasn't expecting much, and I got a little more than I was expecting. I gave this movie a bit more okay, maybe this might actually be good. Because again, Paw Patrol, I'm like, okay, this is just going to be a dumb kids movie, it's fine. But it was actually really good. I really enjoyed it. But this one, kind of in the same vein, but it has way more problems. I'll get into the good stuff. No, I'll start with the problems, actually. Normally I start with the good stuff. Let's start with the problems. First problem is the dialogue is awful. It is so... The comedic writing is, most of the time, sometimes it actually really works. Like, especially out of James Marsden, but I'll get to that in a bit. But a lot of the jokes are, like, overly safe jokes. They're like ones like, we're not gonna get any flack for this one, but we're not gonna be so low on the totem pole, like Chicken Little level low on the totem pole when it comes to jokes. It's just that safe in between, where it's not bad, but it's like, it's not taking any risks here. That's another problem with this movie. It doesn't take any risks. It's very safe. That's the best way to describe this movie. It's safe. And I feel like that's kind of the idea. I have a feeling this movie's setting up for a new animated show, which will have the same characters. I wouldn't be surprised. I really wouldn't. But yeah, that's the biggest problem. Another problem is another one's the message. The message is okay. What's the message of every version of this franchise? It's friendship. Even some of the ones called Friendship is Magic, for Christ's sake. But this one beats you over the head with it so hard. I don't know if the other shows do, or if the other, like, little shorts do. I know the original movie did too, but this one, it beats you on the head so freaking hard. It is ridiculous, and every time they kept bringing that up, I just wanted them to stop. I wanted them to just move the plot along. And yeah, those are kind of the two biggest problems. I couldn't really get into the story at first. Like, the story kind of got better as it went along, as there were, like, actual decent twists in the movie. Well, sort of. We'll get into that in a second. But yeah, most of my problems come down to the writing aspect, with the message, most of the story, and the dialogue. But with that said, let's get into the good stuff. Because there are some legitimately good stuff in this. The animation looks fantastic. It really does. And they brought a lot of really good voice actors into this, too. Vanessa Hudgens, Ken Jeong, James Marsden, Sophia Carson. They got some great actors in these roles. My only problem with Ken Jeong is, and he's had this problem a lot recently, is when he's bouncing off of other people, he's funny. When he's giving good dialogue or is bouncing off of somebody, he can actually really get a laugh. But when he has to just, like, keep talking on his own, like, and when he's not given anybody to bounce off, or not given any other direction other than just keep saying these lines, he's terrible. Because there are multiple instances in this where he's, like, giving some sort of speech or something, and he's not funny. And he's trying to be, but it just doesn't come across that way, because earlier on, when he's bouncing off of James Marsden, it's actually pretty funny. But when he's doing everything on his own, it's not nearly as funny. But who is funny in this is James Marsden. James Morrison is such an underrated actor. He's such a good actor. He's just been in a lot of really bad movies. Like, he was in the first two X-Men, which I stand by as being pretty decent. X-Men 3 was terrible. He was in a Hop, which was awful. But he wasn't Hairspray and Enchanted, which were actually, I stand by, are really good movies. And earlier this year, he was in Boss Baby 2, which I actually thought was And he played Adult Tim, which I didn't realize until after I saw the movie when the credits rolled. And then I forgot about it in my review. So, yeah, James Morrison is such a phenomenal talent. He's a good singer. He doesn't do that much singing in this, surprisingly, even though he's a damn good singer. And I guess that should lead me into the songs, because this is a musical, though there's not nearly as many songs as you would think. And I think that's mostly due to the runtime. A lot of musicals are 2 hours minimum, most of the time. But this one's an hour and a half on the dot. So there's not nearly as much time to cram in a bunch of songs. And honestly, I really respect that. They don't have to cram in 10 different songs into this. I think there are maybe 5 or 6, maybe. And to be fair, they're not bad. They're serviceable enough for the film. They've got some creative lyrics to them every once in a while. I did not care for the forced rap segment in one of them, But of course they were going to shove that in. So although I will say, thankfully, it wasn't done by the rap sequence wasn't done by Ken Jeong. I can because that would have been. He does sing in this, and his singing is fine. It's fine. Everybody else is a really good singer. And I feel like they were brought in because of their singing talent, like Hudgens, Carson, and Marsden. But a lot of them do have pretty good comedic timing, and their singing's pretty good. And again, the songs aren't that bad. I thought the one done by Ken Jeong was actually kind of funny. It wasn't that great of a song, and it was kind of repetitive, but it was actually kind of funny. It was one of the few times where Jeong got a laugh all on his own. And I mentioned how James Morrison's easily the best. He's the best actor in this. He has the best comedic timing. His character is also the best one. He gets the best character in Hitch, who's the sheriff who you can tell he's one of the people that was like raised in this prejudice. And that's kind of the focus of the movie, is the prejudice all of the different horse kinds have against each other. The Pegasi, the unicorns, and the horses. God, I feel like such an idiot talking about this. I'm talking about this unicorns and Pegasi, and I feel like a fucking idiot. I'm an 18-year-old guy, and I'm talking like a 7-year-old girl. This is ridiculous. I'm sorry. Okay, let me get back on track. So yeah, he was kind of like raised in this prejudice, so that's just how he's taught to think. But as he goes along in the journey, he kind of ditches his prejudice relatively quickly. And that's something I do like. And that's one of those characters that I'm glad they didn't just stick with it the entire way through. Because Ken Jeong's character, who's essentially the antagonist, I guess, even though he doesn't really do much against the heroes until the final battle. And yeah, honestly, the guy isn't a bad villain. He's someone who was raised in this prejudice by his mother. I think he's Hitch's brother? I don't know. I think he might be his brother. He might just be his friend. I don't know. I don't think they ever established how the two of them are related, but because Hitch is still friends with Sonny, who's basically her only friend at this point, because he looks out for her, and he bails her out of trouble, even though he's the sheriff. He does his best to bail her out of trouble, and it's a pretty good character, I'm not gonna lie. And like I said, and I was getting on to Sprout, which is Jeong's character, he has the same problem, but it's taken to that extra extreme when Hitch goes off after Sonny, and he's left alone as essentially the sheriff, and he turns into this dictator, even down to wearing a hat very similar to the Nazis. Yeah, they're not the least bit subtle about it. And even down to all of them wearing like anti-mind control devices. So this does give one really funny joke, is where Hitch tells them like, oh no, he's wrong. They don't have their magic. They immediately take this stuff off, but when Jeong says no, they're probably tricking you, they immediately put them back on. I thought that was actually pretty funny. If you really dig into this movie, you can find a political message in there somewhere. I don't want to. I honestly hate political messages in movies because most of the time they're so stupid that I can't take them seriously. Well, much like our current politics. But yeah, I'm trying to think what else to say about this. I already mentioned the cast is pretty good. The story's, for what it is alright. It doesn't make much sense, but it's fine. The characters are decent most of the time. The songs are fine. The musical score is actually pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. The musical score was really good. And the songs are fine. The singing's good. Everything in this movie is just fine, with a few things that are actually really good and some things that are incredibly stupid. It kind of balances out quite nicely. You have some great acting performances who are given shitty dialogue. You're given a half-decent story with a message that's hammered in so motherfucker. Sorry. And then you have this message that beats you over the head constantly. So final verdict, it's fine. Yeah, that's like I've been saying the entire time. There's some great stuff, there's some stupid stuff, but overall it's fine. If you're someone like me who doesn't watch these shows, if you watch it for some reason, you'll get some good jokes out of it. You'll get some passable songs, you'll get some good voice acting. But you'll get a plot that doesn't make much sense, you'll get some really bad dialogue, and you'll get a message that a message shoved in your face so bad that it'll be obnoxious. So that's all I got for this film. I'll give it a split. Man, I don't know what to give this. It's like I want to go lower more than I should, because this actually isn't that bad. I don't know, 3 out of 5, dead in between. This is, but it's still a fresh score. But, jeez, why? All right, so thank you all so much for watching. Be sure to like button down below, subscribe for more reviews like this. Are you even gonna watch this movie? It's on Netflix for free, so it's not like you'll have to pay to see it if you already have Netflix, which pretty much everybody does at this point. So yeah, that's all I got for My Little Pony and New Generation. This is stupid. No, excuse me. I have to go watch Night Books, which hopefully is better than this, and hopefully it's less dumb. And then I've got a September ranking to do. Much more entertaining.